you should probably expect spoilers. He's so vain. He thinks this episode is about him. And he'll be right actually, because it totally is. Who dat? It's Vega! Vega, the Scarlet Terror, the Spanish Ninja, the claw that would swiftly carve your face a new set of eye sockets if your butt-ugly presence so much as brushes by his shoulder. Needless to say, Vega is a few roses short of a flower bed, but this guy actually has more going for him as an antagonist than some of the other so-called evil characters in the series, which I'll elaborate on shortly. For those that don't know anything about Vega, all you really need to know right off the bat is that he's vain. Like vain. Like call him Mr. Right or call him Mr. Wrong, but call him Mr. Vain. And nobody's going to catch that early 90s Europop song reference, so let's press on. Vega is one of the four kings of the evil organization known as Shadaloo, and because he is so skilled in the art of killing, he is also M.Bison's primary assassin. Because when M.Bison wants somebody murked, he won't send the guy with a sniper rifle round to lick shots across the block. No, he will send a pretty boy flamboyant Spanish ninja to climb a wall and then bird scream as he dives down to kill them. Bison plans. And holy shit, I just realised how much I really want to play an Assassin's Creed game with Vega as the main character. When it comes down to talking about Vega's actual backstory though, I'm slightly hesitant since it can be hard to gauge how much of it is actually canon. Not a lot of his past is explained directly in the games, which leaves fans to fill in the blanks from anything that might look sort of canon in alternative media. So, heads up. This short section is subject to legitimacy, and if it turns out to be wrong, then I'll apologise later, but for now, here is what I can understand of it. Vega was born to a noble, wealthy Spanish family, but his father passed away and his mother could not cope on her own, thus having to remarry. The man she ended up with was trash and he treated her like crap. Abused often, Vega's mother would call this horrible man ugly, and this would eventually leave a lasting impression on Vega. Tragedy befalls Vega when his mother is killed by his terrible stepfather, sending Vega into a rage and killing him in revenge. Now, everything up to this point is questionable in terms of how canon it is, but I mention it because I feel it really does something great for the character's personality if it turns out it's true, and I'll get into all of that a little later on in this episode, don't worry. This next part is more solid canon though, so no more worrying about where I'm treading. As Vega grew into an adult, he studied bullfighting as part of his cultural heritage, but he also studied the Japanese art of ninjutsu, a style which he felt complemented his graceful movements. Mashing together bullfighting with ninjutsu gave Vega a very unique remixed fighting style, and it wasn't long before he became a champion at underground cage fighting. He was eventually recruited by M.Bison to oversee assassination jobs for Shadaloo, and he was also tasked with the objective of capturing and returning Cami to him, a doll agent who kinda went a little rogue. His encounter with Cami is also a key point that I'll need to bring up again later too, so keep her in the forefront of your mind. There will be a test. There won't be a test, I'm just fucking around. Right, I think I got Vega's story in the bag, but if I am wrong, then send your boys round, innit? Now let's get this show rolling, blood! Visual design. Look at him! He's a Spanish ninja! You can tell he's Spanish because hola! Bullfighting matador pantaloons with white leggings and loafers, bruv! He's definitely very Spanish, senor! Now, what part of him is the ninja? Oh, what, the mask? Wait, you talking about the mask there? For real? Because like anybody can just pick up one of those masks from a sports shop, fam. Just ask Jason Voorhees and Casey Jones, they get wicked discounts on masks. It is a sick mask though, innit? You look at his mask and you're like, damn, that's a bloody good mask. While superheroes wear masks to protect their identity, Vega just wears a mask to protect his beautiful sexy face. I do actually like the fact that while he knows ninjutsu and is proficient in the style, he doesn't really have to wear stereotypical ninja attire to get his point across. And I'd imagine that a man of such precise tastes as Vega would probably find a ninja outfit ugly anyway, so it's kinda keeping it all in character.
Seriously, what's up with Vega's hair though? I mean, one minute he's blonde, the next minute he's brunette. This guy must be wasting bare Bison dollars on hair dye product, man.
It's true that Vega's hair keeps switching between blonde and brown with every other major game release, probably throwing fan artists into a boiling pot of what the fuck am I supposed to do about this shit every time they want to draw him. But aside from that, it's a pretty harmless switcheroo that Capcom does, perhaps even for the lols. And in Street Fighter 4, where Vega's hair is brown, if you select his 10th alternative outfit color, his hair will magically change to blonde.
My blades will make you beautiful. Does your ugliness embarrass you? You're hideous. Bleed for me.
Then you got his claws, probably the most defining feature about him alongside the mask. They are beautiful. And I also want to state how strikingly genius it is that he only uses one pair of claws instead of two. Like this, having only one pair of claws draws your attention to them more since they're breaking symmetry and standing out. These are also the kind of claws so precise in how they cut you that if you were to get shanked by them, your blood will happily filter out of the wounds in delightful red rose petal shapes, because even the way Vega stabs you up has to be utterly fabulous. Visually, Vega has such a demanding presence amongst the Street Fighter lineup. A lot of characters play it safe by just appearing in traditional martial arts garb, but not Vega. While the lower half of him screams Matador, the top half of him screams, I'm insane, and I'm insanely beautiful. I'm not keen on the shoes though. They just look like granddad slippers to me. I know they're part of a Matador's outfit, yeah I get it, I understand, but personal taste? Nah, I'm not really feeling them. Everything else looks sick on him though. Big up yourself, you crazy bastard. Personality. I honestly cannot think of any other character who loves himself as much as Vega does. Real talk, a genuine Vega mirror match would be a never-ending series of time overs because both Vegas would just be standing there gazing at each other until the time runs out. Jokes aside though, there could be more to Vega's vanity than just straight up being vain for the sake of it. This was why I chose to mention his unconfirmed backstory canon earlier, as if that is his backstory, then it really does open up Vega's stance on why he considers himself so beautiful. Rather than just being a typical pretty boy in love with himself, this apparent backstory gives the added angle that the death of his mother had propelled Vega's mind down this thought pattern. So follow me for a second here. He witnessed his mother being murdered by a man whom his mother considered ugly, so now Vega sees ugliness as a disgusting human trait that must be purged from the earth. Obviously not wanting to purge himself, Vega throws himself down the opposite end of the spectrum and takes every available opportunity to make himself as beautiful as possible, until finally, he believes there truly is nobody else on this earth as beautiful as he is. It works. It works, right? You can't tell me that doesn't work. It works so well as a backstory, and I really want this to be leading on the side of actual canon. It takes Vega from being a plain vain villain and gives him an actual motive for why he acts the way that he does.
Okay, yes, maybe I'm reading too much into it and it's nothing more than just a little bit of bunch of headcanons all over the internet that I've collected into one space online. If that is the case, then it is a shame because it actually gives a lot of depth to Vega's backstory. If that isn't the case, then as he is, he's alright. He's just vain for no reason other than being vain. But if it is true, you don't want to be dropping any yo mama jokes around Vega unless you have a very specific death wish that involves a Spanish ninja who touches himself.
Vega doesn't hate everybody though, don't get it twisted. Just because he absolutely believes himself to be the walking pinnacle of God's gift does not mean he thinks every other human being is ugly. There have been a few noteworthy characters so far that have gained Vega's interests since he considers them to be beautiful enough to spare the lives of. For example, Cammy. As I mentioned earlier, she was one of M.Bison's doll agents who went rogue and Bison didn't like that, so he sent Vega to go get her. Bison then decides to exterminate Cammy for being a failed doll, an unworthy host for his powers to be transferred to. Vega, however, sees it as a waste, that something as beautiful as Cammy should not be killed but instead preserved, so he saves her. From our perspective, it was a completely unexpected move of Vega to attempt to rescue anybody. It's not something we've ever seen him do up until that point, but it happened. It does not mean he's a good guy now, not in the slightest. It just means he's an antagonist who's not just doing things for the sake of doing things because bad guys do things. He has motives and reasons to his actions. If he considers you butters, then you perish by his blades. But if he considers you paintings, then he sees you worthy of remaining alive. Sure, it's a bad mentality to have, but that's what Vega is. A bad guy. Aside from being a narcissist, he is also very prim and proper when it comes to conversing with other people. Naturally, I'd imagine growing up in a noble family household taught Vega the highest level of manners. So hey, maybe he might ask how you're doing before he cuts your head off. Due to believing he is of higher grade than everybody else, Vega has no friends even within the Shadaloo organization. He shares no common interests or goals with any of the other kings, and Balrog pretty much hates him, that of which the feeling is mutual. With a personality as extravagant as Vega's, it's hard not to be entertained by him when he's interacting with other characters, and due to having such a way with words, I always find his dialogue to be a joy to listen to. He is a nutcase, and a very delightful one to watch at that. Importance. During his time at Shadaloo, Vega was head of assassinations, so yeah, from the antagonist's side of the coin, he really was a very important character to have around. Plus, he was also the third king of Shadaloo, making him one of the most important top dogs around the place. Then there's the fact that he actively went against M.Bison to save Cammy from being killed. Although Cammy doesn't consider Vega a friend as he disgusts her, even she can't deny the fact that Vega was the one to save her lovely round ass in the first place. After Shadaloo had crumbled and SIN had popped up in its place, Vega rejoined and continued being one of the company's head bosses. Though, here's where things start getting really interesting with Vega's goals. So, let me put it to you like this.
Put yourself in Vega's position for a second, okay? You believe yourself to be the most beautifulest thing in the world. There's nothing more beautiful than your own self, okay? But you realize you're getting older. And as you get older, you age and you begin to lose that youthful look. Obviously, that's not what Vega wants. So what do you do in this predicament? Well, you've got two options. Option one is, you just accept it, and you become everything you detest. Or,
you try to become immortal. No, seriously, by Street Fighter 4, Vega has spent enough time around M.Bison to witness the dictator resurrect himself a few times now. This intrigues Vega to no end. The ability to transfer yourself to another body and continue living is something somebody like him could take great advantage of. Street Fighter 4 actually ends with Vega taking data on M.Bison's project, and why else would Vega need that data if not for the pursuit of eternal life and beauty? And Vega's bored with the pimped out lifestyle anyway, believing money and power to be an ugly combination. So to remain forever young, what else could Vega do with his time aside from spending it individually hunting down every single person he considers unworthy of existence? Imagine a Vega with an ability to cheat death, his unholy quest to rid the world of all that he considers ugly. With the key to immortality at his fingertips, he could continue that quest until he ultimately fulfills his insane goal. I feel out of the four kings of Shadaloo, nobody else has more potential at going somewhere with their story arcs than Vega. Bison just clearly wants to rule the world like the dictator he is. Sagat just wants to be king of the fighting tournament. And Balrog's a waste man anyway, so fuck him. But Vega? Vega could become the Grim Reaper of the series. He has the schematics to eternal life in his hands right now, and it would be a crying shame not to see how he, of all characters, would take advantage of it. Conclusion. This guy is clearly my favourite king of Shadaloo. The other three just seem to be overshadowed by his level of charisma and sadistic charm. Even Bison himself just looks like a daddy dearest when Vega is in the house. He has a great visual design that blends elegance and terror into the same persona, while his personality adds so much extra flavour to the overall package. And with every new mainline Street Fighter game that Vega appears in, we see a bit more to his insane ideals develop and grow each time. I'm just personally hoping it's actually leading to somewhere fitting for the character, and I think the quest for immortality is the right spot it should be going towards.
Vega has so much more potential to him than just being M.Bison's goon. We've already seen hints about what he's capable of and what we could do with him. It would just be nice to actually see him blaze his own trail away from Shadowloo, become his own antagonist, do his own thing. That's what I would like to see personally. And if things plan out a certain way, then I reckon we might just be seeing that.